What is up? 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 What is up, Grocknation? Welcome back tonight, you guys, to the arcade for a new series in this channel that I personally am very, very excited about, and I think my millennial viewers are going to be just as excited, especially my male viewers, once we start really digging into this, because many of you have read these magazines. Guys, over the last, I want to say maybe 3 months, I've been seeing a lot of, well, not a lot, maybe like 3 I've been really paying attention to. ASM artists reading old magazines. Now, these are all women that are reading these magazines, and they're all like Vanity Fair and House Deco, things along that nature, but it's really nice to listen to because it's old. It's like from the late 2000s, so you know, it's a nice look into how pop culture was and events in the world, things maybe we would have forgot about. One girl, like Cat Plant ASMR, I actually mentioned her in my video about ASM artists. She actually was doing old IGN magazines, which I thought was really, really cool because I used to read IGN magazines, or EGM, sorry, Electronic Gaming Magazine. It was a video game magazine, and she actually had an issue as the cover of an issue I owned, so I thought that was pretty neat. And I got, like, a light bulb went off, maybe a week or so back. I was in the middle of making all these scary gameplay ASMR videos for you guys for Halloween. I started thinking, what am I going to do before Christmas themed videos in December? And I thought, man, I was listening to one of them go through an old Vanity Fair. And I was like, why can't I find anyone that does old men's magazines? I googled it, YouTube it, couldn't find any, and I'm like, I would actually love to listen to these old men's magazine magazines and go through them. Old Maxims, FHM stuff, stuff like that. So I was like, maybe this is what I should do. And I looked on eBay. I found a big collection of them from the year 2000, 2001, 13 issues actually, and I pulled the trigger on it. It wasn't that expensive. It works out to about $10 a magazine, which actually isn't bad because these were about $5 to $8 a magazine when they were brand new at the time, so it's not going to break the bank. So I'm going to do a brief overview of these magazines, my history with this particular issue, which is going to be our first, which is very, very fitting because it's the very first issue I ever bought in my life. I'm going to put a timestamp so you guys can jump ahead if you're just interested in listening or skimming through this magazine with me, and you're not really interested in hearing this backstory on this or anything. This is technically kind of a Grok Stories intro, but I promise it'll be entertaining and a bit comical, I think. And if you're a millennial, I'll take you back to 1999. Definitely get some 90s vibes here, and then we're going to dig into this magazine. I have not touched this magazine yet. It literally came in the mail, took it out of the package, and it's been sitting on my shelf behind me. I've been waiting to go through it with you guys in this video. So with that being said, let's dig into this. But first, guys, once again, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if this is your type of flavor for ASMR, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But with that being said, let's dig into my history with these magazines. And just a rough, for my female viewers maybe, or my younger audience, what exactly these magazines are. Okay, so I started reading men's magazines 13, 14 years old. I was 13, technically my first issue, which is this one. But it was probably from 14 to 18, I would read them religiously. Maxim, FHM stuff. I would get them almost every other month, at least one of them. I think Maxim I got every issue from 2002 to 2003. Before I moved after my mother passed away. But I always got the other ones as well if I had a little extra money, and it was just different. These magazines are like guy tips, guy stories. There's tips on, fashion, booze, girls, cars, electronics, video games, things of that nature. Just stuff guys like. And they always have cover models, which is like the sex sells kind of deal. And it's kind of like back in the day when there was all these magazines on the shelves. You'd be like Jennifer Aniston's on Maxim, and Jessica Alba's on, FHM. And, Christina Applegate's on Stuff magazine. Which one do I want to get? They're all really good. But I'm a big Jennifer Aniston fan, so I'm going to get Maxim. So this was a huge deal back then. It's not so much now, but back in the early 2000s, late 90s, there was no social media. There really was no way for these actresses, musicians, whatever they are in the entertainment world, because it's always women at the top of their game, they say. Like today, if Maxim was as prevalent today and there was no social media and they were still going at it the way they do now, or back then, you'd have like Sabrina Carpenter on there, for example, because she's everywhere on social media, and her new album and everything, she would be on Maxim for sure for a month. A year or so ago would have been Dua Lipa, and there'd be WWF wrestlers on there, Rhea Ripley, all these pop culture, big female celebrities, Sydney Sweeney. They don't really need to now, though, with social media to really get their face out there. But, for example, Elijah Hubert, she was on 24, a show I didn't watch when I was younger. But I remember getting that issue of Maxim and going, she is gorgeous, and she's in this movie, The Girl Next Door. I'm going to watch that because she's gorgeous, and I read the article, and like she's funny and everything else. I'd like to watch a movie with her. And, that's how it is. They promote themselves here. I know there's a lot. I think Kirsten Dunst was one. They really didn't like having to do that in the 90s. Their talent agencies and whatnot would be like, okay, you're offered Maxim, you take it. And, they weren't comfortable doing photo shoots. Now, Maxim photo shoots with these women are very tasteful. They're not lewd in any nature. There's no nudity or anything. But still, some of them are very, very conservative, and they wouldn't have ever put themselves in a situation where they would do a photo shoot. They're not in the business for photo shoots, but they'd be pressed to do it, do the circuit, I guess. They would have to do the circuit of these magazines, and, offers to be in music videos, which were still very big back then with MTV, Much Music, all these kind of things. They had to do that. So a lot of them weren't too happy about it, and like I said, just not comfortable doing it. Again, they're not lewd photo shoots, but a lot of them just didn't get into the business to get in to be doing those kind of shoots. I came from a very, I guess, conservative family, even though not politically. I come from a little hovel / reserve, and anyone in Canada, well, maybe North America knows, those places are really isolated. Like, they don't really pay attention to what's happening outside of them. I always say they're kind of like the Shire in Tolkien's world, Lord of the Rings. They don't know what's happening outside the world. They don't know what's happening in the rest of the country. They're just really disconcerted hobbits, I guess. They're just only worried about what's happening in the Shire, their little reserve. So my mother wasn't conservative in that nature. She was just very, very religious, and I was afraid she would throw this magazine away. I actually collected these magazines when I moved away from home. I actually had, 2 years worth of a whole bunch. So actually all I brought with me was the only possessions I had. I took my PlayStation with me. I took 4 sets of clothes, and I took all my magazines. Unfortunately, I didn't take any of my photo albums because I assumed my father would just keep them, and one of these days I'd come home and I'd be able to look at them. Of course, this wasn't the case. They would be burned up in a house fire from my asshole uncle who would take them for himself. So it's one of the biggest losses in my life is I didn't take any photo albums. I definitely would give anything in the world to have made the choice differently and taken the photo albums over even my PlayStation. But unfortunately, I didn't. I did bring all these magazines with me when I moved to Churchill. And when we left Churchill, I packed them all up, and these young guys were the movers, and the box never got to Thompson, so they stole all my magazines. It was all Maxim, FHM Stuff magazine. There was a couple Playboys in there I actually bought, celebrity ones, the wrestler ones. And, yeah, so I never got them. I'd like to lie to myself and say, I would have them all right now and I could go through them all with you guys. But I probably would have destroyed them regardless, as our last house, I put a lot of the newer magazines I was reading at the time into the garage for storage and keep out of the house, and they all were ruined with condensation, and yeah. But I read Maxim magazine from 2000, or rather 1999 technically, with this one till about 2004, 2005, when I was basically living on my own. Obviously, my life changed. My priorities changed. I was a mixed martial arts not trainer yet, but I was training, and I was wrestling in high school. So my magazine tastes changed. I started reading Men's Health magazines, Men's Journal, Grappling magazine, Fight magazine, Fighters Only magazine for mixed martial arts. I actually had a subscription at one point to all three, and it was just too much. I'd have Grappling magazine coming to the house. I'd have Men's Health, and I'd have Fight magazine every month, and it was too much. It was like, I can't remember, like $25 a month I was spending. If you subscribe back in those days to multiple months, they would give you like a free issue at the end of the year, basically is what it worked out to. But yeah, so I haven't actually bought or read a Maxim magazine in over 10 years, I would say. Well, maybe longer than that. I used to grab maybe an FHM or something at the airport. If I was flying and needed something to read, I used to like reading the United Kingdom versions because they're different than the North American ones. But we're going to go through this first issue together, and I'm going to tell you the story about how I got this very first issue. It's a very funny story, actually, and I'll tell you what I did with this issue. Like I said, I had to kind of hide it from my mother. She really came around to it when I was 15, 16, but when I was younger, I used to have to hide these magazines. But with that being said, let's get into this story. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So up until I found this issue, I wouldn't have been able to give an exact month or year when I actually found this particular issue, but I know my older friend Daniel used to have Maxim magazines, and I used to read them when I was over at his place. I was 13, he was 17, 18, and yeah, I'd read them when he was around his house. I liked it. There was always like fragrance samples in there, the magazines. I remember I ripped the one off and I would rub it on my clothes. But this particular issue is from November 1999, and I remember it was a school trip. Again, I wouldn't have remembered the month or year. I remember it was winter time, and we actually went to the little town nearby our hovel for like an end of the year like trip. We went to go to the movies, we went bowling, and we went shopping at the Sellers there. Now, I remember I was hanging out with my girlfriend at the time, my friend who was a girl. She was my best friend for a couple of years up to that point. And this is the girl I mentioned before. She had a crush on me, but she was over a year and a half older than me, so she was kind of awkward about it. But we was like peas and carrots. No, we were just really good friends, and she was stuck to my hip that whole day. We just finished going to the movies. We went bowling, went to Zellers to buy some clothes and stuff. And I only had $10, I think my mother gave me for that day, so I didn't buy anything at Zellers. They paid for the movies and a bowling, which was nice. But we stopped at 7-Eleven on the way home, and at this time in my life, I was only reading gaming magazines, like I said, Electronic Gaming Magazine and Official PlayStation Magazine for the demo disc. Back in the day, they gave you a demo disc. As well, wrestling magazines, the WWF magazine and the WWF Raw magazine, which I really liked because there was always diva photo shoots in there, and it was like a more mature magazine than the WWF magazine. But I remember we went to the 7-Eleven and she had her arm looped in mine, and we grabbed Slurpees, and then we went to the magazine section. She was looking at Cosmo. And I remember seeing the new Electronic Game magazine. I didn't know when the next time I'd be in town again. So I wanted to get it, but I didn't want her to see me getting a gaming magazine and, be a nerd. So I was like, damn it, I want to get that, but, I don't want her to think I'm a nerd. And when she was reading her Cosmo, I seen this magazine on the shelf, and it had my big 90s crush on the cover. In the 90s, I had this girl as a crush. I had Kirsten Dunst. Mariah Carey was my awakening, that I loved female Butts. The Heartbreaker music video was a game changer for me. Britney Spears, you know, these were my 90s crushes. And this one was the number one for sure. The magazine I got, I'll show it right now, it was from 1999, and it was Jennifer Love Hewitt's edition, her very first edition. I guess she did Maxim a bunch of times. I only ever read this one. But I'll tell you what, kind of smells funky, like it's been sitting in a shelf forever. It's an old magazine, I guess. It's thick as hell, too. Look at that. But yeah, she was a huge crush of mine. You know, Can't Hardly Wait, House Arrest, that stupid movie where her friend, they're teenagers, he's gonna lose his virginity to this hot girl, and he needs to find a condom. The whole movie's about him finding a condom, and she's supposed to help him. And the girl he's trying to get with is nowhere near as gorgeous as she is, of course, right? So in the end, like your typical movie with the exact same formula, he realizes, oh, my hot brunette friend's way hotter than she is. I'll just use my Trojan on her. I think it was actually called Trojan. And then she had I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, but Can't Hardly Wait's my all-time favorite movie with her. That's the movie that really made me fall in love with her. But I bought this edition. We're going to get into it right quick here. Like I said, I put a timestamp on for you guys, so if you guys want to listen to this story. I bought it. I remember she went to talk to my cousin Crystal, and I went and I folded it up, and I went and I bought it. Still at that awkward age, that 13-year-old age. I didn't want my guy friends to see I was buying a magazine like this, you know. And I remember I got on a bus, and she sat beside me again, and I couldn't hide it anymore. I had it there, and I remember she was like, you're gonna read that. I was like, yeah, well, it's a men's magazine. There's stuff in here about other things, too. It's not just, not just about her. And my cousin Kevin was actually the chaperone. He was 19 years old, and he came over, and he's like, what are you doing with that? I'm going to tell your grandmother you're reading that. Let me see that. And he took it from me, and he skimmed through the pictures right away, and he gave it back. I was like, please don't tell her. But I remember this is where the 90s thing comes in. On a ride back, we were listening to a Discman. I think it was a Discman. It might have even been a Walkman. I think it was a mixtape Walkman. She was reading her Cosmo, and I was reading my Maxim. And we were sharing an earphone, an earbud. She had one, I had one. Listening to Smash Mouth, Third Eye Blind, The Verve, all the way, Blink-182, all the way home, just straight 90s. And one thing I remember about this is I actually cut out a picture of Jennifer Love Hewitt in here, and I put it on my binder at school on the inside of the front or the opening. So you open the binder, you'd see her. And I recall my teacher, I keep it hidden from everybody. My teacher came and looked at my work. I didn't even think twice, and I opened it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm busted. All I remember is my teacher, her name was Jan. She looked at it, and she put her hand like to stop the page from being moved, and she goes, oh, she is so beautiful, isn't she? And I was like, yes, she is. And, at the time, she's known for her breasts, obviously, Jennifer Love Hewitt, but her face is just so gorgeous, especially around this time. I was in love with her face. I was loving her face since that cheesy movie House Arrest. But that's my story on getting this issue and my rough history, I guess, of men's magazines. I'm really excited about this series in the channel. I'm going to do all issues. There's this plus 13 more coming. I actually found this, believe it or not. When I decided to do this edition, I actually I found like I said, a pack of 13 magazines for $80. I bought that, and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to read them in chronological order. It'd be nice if I could find the very first one. It was a Jennifer Love Hewitt from 1999. I just don't know what. I googled it, and this came right up. Number one, it was on eBay, and it was from a guy that sells collectibles out of some town south of Winnipeg, so in my province, in my country. So I thought that was so weird. I bought it, and here it is 4 days later. Like, my other package is like in Illinois or something. It won't be here probably till next week, if not the week after. So, but this is going to be the very first edition in this series, and it's only fitting it's my very first magazine, so that's so nice. I'm really excited to dig into this, guys. It's going to be so funny looking at all this old stuff, all these old ads. Like I said, November 1999, the world was different. The World Trade Centers are still standing. Yeah, we're going to dig into this. Like I said, sex, sports, beers, gadgets, clothes, movie reviews, video game reviews, everything's in here. One of my favorite magazines of all time, and a huge, huge part of my preteen, teenhood, for sure. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, guys, I am super stoked to get into this magazine. This is going to be so interesting because this is going to be like taking a trip back in time kind of deal. A more simpler time, not just because I was a young man, but because the world was just so much nicer than it is today, especially in today's political climate for us North Americans. Oh my God, what a shit show it is. This has like a weird crimp up here. This magazine itself definitely looks well worn. As you can see, there's some wear on it. 26 years. Is it 25 years? 26 years, though. I mean, it's an old magazine. So I'm not going to read every article because this is way too big. But a lot of these magazines were a lot less than Cosmo, I would say. But a lot of these magazines are ads. If you ever read a cosmetology magazine, if you're a man, I've skimmed through my wife's before. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at I'm on a camera. I got like an infection under there. I just popped some pus out of there. Sorry to discuss you. Anyway, I've read my wife's, and it's like 70% is like ads. I'm like, where's the articles? See what's on the back. Oh, Jetmoto 3. I love Jetmoto 2. I actually owned a Jetmoto 2. This was a 99 Studios was a really good gaming studio back then. This was a racing game. You were on like these mopeds, these floating mopeds. The commercials for these games were so epic. The old PlayStations. This is the kind of things we're going to be doing in this magazine. We're going to be going through everything like this. But first, let's go through the cover here, guys. So, special section, Maxim's 25 coolest cars. Okay, so we're going to see a lot of cars in here. They're going to be old now, but we are going to see them. Just looking up on my camera to make sure. I'm going to try to keep that light out as much as possible for you guys. So, sex, sports, beers, gadgets, and clothes. November 1999, #1 Reader's Choice Hot Love. Jennifer Love Hewitt's exclusive Maxim shoot. All sex workout, never go to the gym again. That is a really good workout, I can attest to that. I'm not even joking. Dieting and sex 1 year. I think it was 2017. I lost weight, like it was like an actual workout. Yeah, that actually, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to talk about, and if that's the case, I can attest to that. Fashion advice from women. Clothes she'll rip off you with her teeth. Death row escape. 6 violent men, 1 desperate plan. Plus best trick pool shots, fastest E-Trade sites, worst movie sex scenes, and frozen turkey fun. Obviously, in the United States, their Thanksgiving is it's in November. I think it's the first week in November or last week in November. It's super close to Christmas. I know my American friends always complain. They wish it was like us and it was in October, so you get a couple month buffer. But those motherfuckers down south, Thanksgiving is like their Christmas for us. Like, they go crazy for it. So here is the first ad of, I'm sure, many. I'm not sure who this is. Chamois Fleece? I've never even heard of this. It's a clothing company. I don't know who that actor is. It kind of looks like James Franco a bit, but James Franco would have been a teenager then. Calvin Klein. Is that Kate Moss? No, I don't think it is. God, it might be Kate Moss. Diesel. I like Diesel jeans. They're not the best. I like Buffalo. Jeans the best. They're my favorite jeans, I'd say, of all my jeans. I will say that they make great underwear. Some of my favorite underwear are Diesel underwear. They're really, really nice. Diesel store in New York, San Francisco, Santa Monica, Chicago, Las Vegas, Boston, and Georgetown. I wonder if they were brand new jeans back then. Mecca. I don't know this. It looks like it's a dirt bike company. Dirt bike clothing company. Maybe like, Metal Militia of its time. I'm not familiar with the dirt biking community, so this might be a prevalent brand today. Camel cigarettes. American cigarettes. My wife actually loved Camel menthols when she was a cigarette smoker. She's quit for 5 years now. I'm super proud of her. PlayStation accessories. General knockoffs are okay for medication. This stuff is way too important. So we got the SV cables, which were newer at the time when this system came out. Everyone was using the old, right here, RV adapters. They have converters to them. These are for the old-fashioned TVs, which is what I had. There was the multi-tap that never worked. You'd plug it into one, and theoretically there was 4 slots, so you can have 4 controllers playing, but it was such a bad accessory. Like I said, maybe 2 would work, and the 3rd and 4th just wouldn't. You'd have to, what I found is you'd have to wiggle one of them, and you might be able to get them to work, but as soon as you nudge it too much, it would turn off. The DualShocks actually just came out, I think this year or the year prior. I remember they came out right when Metal Gear Solid came out. And I remember reading the magazines and not knowing what these 2 black dots were, because it's just magazines. I'd never seen them. I didn't know they were joysticks. Link cable. This is a super fun thing. Back in the day, obviously there was no online play at this time, so when we would play multiplayer games, it'd be split screen, so you would be able to look and see where everyone is. What the link cable does was it would hook up 2 separate PlayStations, and you can get 2 separate TVs, and you'd be in the same game, and you'd have your own TV, so you could turn your TV around, and you wouldn't be able to watch each other's screens, so that was really cool. And back then, with those old systems, you needed your own memory cards. They didn't have built-in memory, so if you didn't have a memory card, you'd play the game, and your progress wouldn't be able to be saved. It was kind of like a cash scam, I always thought, but it's funny to see these old accessories. Here's another PlayStation game, Omega Boost. Introducing Omega Boost. Why go to all the trouble of being weightless if you can't blow up a bunch of space crap? I've never played this. It kind of looks like Armored Core to me. Another PlayStation game, Crash Team Racing. A really, really, really fun game. I know my cousin Joey and Jason and all them own this, and they absolutely loved it. It was basically PlayStation's Mario Kart. Crash Bandicoot is the PlayStation mascot. He definitely was back in the day anyway. Skechers Sportswear. I thought it was going to show me an established because I don't know how old it is. ESQ Swiss washes. Unwind. Look at that fashion. This is how I used to dress back then. Everyone had the cocky cargo pants. Everything was cargo, even the jeans. You always had to have the cargo pockets. So here's our table of contents and what we're going to be reading here. There's gorgeous Jennifer. She's on 168. There's an ad for Jack Daniel's whiskey, which is actually not being sold in Canada right now with this tariff war going on. I'm not really a big fan of it anyway in terms of whiskey. What do we have down here? 96, they killed Kenny, Trey Parker, and Matt Stone. The creators of South Park discuss pulling down their pants. Strippers versus real dates and being a target of the Islamic Jihad. I could see that. Personal advancement, $5,000 of advice for free. breaking loose, escape from death row. There was only one way out of Muckenberg prison, death row, until 6 vicious killers pulled off an impossible escape. 132, Maxim's all-sex workout. Help her get the workout she needs while giving you the sex you crave. The only dumbbell she'll need is you. And the winner is the 1999 Maxim Bad Sex Awards. You won't believe what people do in the name of hanky-panky, or maybe you will. Maxim brings you the worst sex advice at movies, TVs, news, and gadgets. Wheelie Sexy, Shannon Mokler. If California bicycle cops really look like this, Pacific Blue Honey, we'd be out there jaywalking right now. For Rome, step into our showroom, gents, and behold the very best new models, the rides we dig and why we dig them. And then 168 obviously is Jennifer Love Hewitt's article. There's an old, looks like a videotape recorder. Okay, so far we've gone through a little sliver of the magazine, and it appears most of it was ads so far. So maybe this is not as much as it looks like initially. We'll see. Echo is here. Toyota Echo. I love Toyotas. They're my favorite vehicle make. We have a Tacoma with about 150,000 kilometers on it, and no real issues with it that's not cosmetic. Like, these fuckers will run forever. I will never not love Toyotas, but mother-in-law had a Corolla that never had any problems as well. We actually took that all the way to Banff. It's a really, really, really good car company. Hello, my name is Dan. Reunion. Looks like I still fit into my rubber skirt and halter top from grade school. I'm not sure who that is. Page 48. Blow it in your ear. There's a disc man right there. Letters. Damn it, who told these people we work here? Jokes. 46 is Circus Maximus. 72's How To. Says her. 30 or 80. The 10-step seduction. Sports full court whoop-ass. Bucks, money for nothing. Clothes. Fashion advice from women. 201 Grinder. Which portable audio player can block out the roar of a roller coaster? Okay, that's obviously today's day. We know what Grinder is. Beat this caption. 2 balls, new balls, screw balls, blue balls. Page 68. Alternative allergy cures. Ooh, I hate allergies. Meat wrapped in cheese. Page 78. Adobe. Funny enough, this is what I'm editing this video on, Adobe Premiere Pro. This kind of looks like Doc from Back to the Future, doesn't it? I'm trying to center this for you guys. Who says you can't buy happiness? This is the editor's letter. Mike Sauter. Here's our first fragrance ad, Lagerfeld Jacko. I don't think I've ever smelled that. Who's this model? It's just the photographer's name. Tucked into every spare corner of my brain are small but important facts about the vinyl statistics of all my favorite cars. Off the top of my head, I can tell you, for example, that the 59 Cadillac convertible weighed in at precisely 2 tons and could manage an impressive 8 miles per gallon. If I were showing off, I could add that the fins were exactly 42 inches. I could mention that I don't care about cars. Sorry. I really don't. This I care about. There you go. Dungeons & Dragons Baldur's Gate on PC. BioWare Corp. Black Isle. 1998 Game of the Year. Computer Game Strategy Plus. Vault Network Imagine Games Network. 1998 RPG of the Year. So Baldur's Gate is like a digital version of Dungeons & Dragons. And a lot of these games you can actually make your own dungeons and run them with friends. But the last Baldur's Gate from 2 years years ago was just, it's one of the best RPGs ever made. I should actually do a video on that. So here's our first movie ad, being John Malkovich, which was such a stupid, stupid movie. So this guy enters a room and he's like inside the actor John Malkovich's head, like he can see inside, almost like Get Out. It's almost too stupid to try to get into. But this movie was just, it's out October 29th of this year, 1999. Great movies in 1999, actually. Fight Club, one of my favorite movies of all time. Green Mile, another great one. Or is that 2000? I'm not sure. It's 1999 or 2000. I'm going to say 99, though. Andrew Mark, New York. These are just editors and stuff. Oris, another Switchmate watch since 1904. Sit back, pour glass. Survey Kingdom. Chivas Regal. When you know, it's some kind of liquor. What is it? A bourbon, maybe? Oh, it's a scotch, premium scotch. Put a stamp on it. This month's mailbag contains some unexpected items. Let's read some of these letters people sent. New and improved Pam. Oh, that is my Pam right there. New and improved Pam, you guys turned me inside out with your Pamela Lee issue. The cover caught my eye one day. I was buying a pack of smokes. I bought it immediately, and I have to say, you've put together the best Pam spread I've ever seen. Thanks for a good time, and thanks to Pam for keeping it real. That's Tom Behem from Los Angeles. The editor says, hey, what do you mean? Thanks for a good time. And how come your letter was all sticky? Ugh. He did kind of insinuate that he was masturbating to the spread of Pamela Anderson here, and it was the best spread ever. Keep in mind, Pamela Anderson's shot Playboy, so if that's the purpose of him buying it, who would send in a letter like that? Even back then, you guys, there was creeps that had the balls to put their name on there and put something like that there out. I think that's probably why they actually featured this one. It's a boy. I loved your article on tough guy New York giant Michael Strahan. I get paid to break legs. September. I am a 33-year-old woman and diehard San Francisco 49ers fan. I was pregnant with my second child on November 30th, 1998. The Monday night of the Giants 49ers game you mentioned in the article, in which Strahan laid out all-pro quarterback Steve Young. Right when Strahan made the gnarly hit, I went into labor. My son was born at 4:31 that morning. Man, I love the game. That's from Randy Lynn Briggs from Hyde Park, New York. We hereby canonize you to the Maxim Saint of Motherhood. That means we can call you when we need a fluffer mother or someone to bail us out of jail. I'm not sure what that is. What is this? Maxed out in Vegas. My girlfriend and I were about to check into Vegas Maxim's hotel until we found out it wasn't a Maxim Mag hotel. Oh, that's right. They were going to do a hotel, but it never came to fruition. I remember that. No Pamela Lee, no free border, or orgasm-inducing gizmos. In protest, we got our picture taken for you guys. Here we are deep in the poker table, drinking champagne in our bathrobes, on top of a limo. Life sucks. That's from Sasha Lewis, who's one of these guys. From New York, New York. A lot of New Yorkers on here. Thanks for the tip-off. We've sent a copyright lawyer out there to cheat at craps and miss the urinal. Old dog, new tricks. Your magazine is the best in terms of teaching men how to please women in the sack. Example, the 30 new sex tricks I learned from your brilliant September issue. Now my girlfriend is climaxing to the highest peaks and turning into a tireless freak by night. All thanks to you guys. I feel like Dirk Diggler. That's Mark Wahlberg's character from Boogie Nights. Please keep it up with the interesting articles. That's from Marveladio from Miami Beach, Florida. Okay, and you keep it up too. When midgets bite back. I don't think you can call them midgets anymore. I think it's little people, but back then. there was no like censoring of any words, or that was unacceptable in society, I would say. I have always been a fan of your magazine, but in a recent story, How to Toss a Dwarf, September, you discuss midget hurling. I'm a midget myself, and this is one of the worst insults I've ever endured. Please summon an article making fun of tall people, or at least print an apology. So, a dwarf was upset about this. Simon Small, his name is. That can't be his name. Can you imagine being a dwarf and being called Simon Small? No return address. Sorry, by the way, did you ever hear the one about the dwarf who finally accepted his homosexuality? He came out of the cupboard. Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Northern exposure. In your breakfast sandwich bit in Circus Maximus, you begin your review of the Swanson Tommy Hilfiger fragrance. You can still get these fragrances in the actual Tommy Hilfiger stores, but I never buy any of these. Lee falls on the ball at the 30 and it's a first down. Sorry, let's get back to this. You began your review of the Swanson Great Start sandwich, although initially put off by something that would advertise itself as Canadian. Gee, you certainly weren't put off by your cover girl Pamela Lee or your babe Estella Warren, two Canadian-style beauties. They would, however, make for a good breakfast sandwich. That's Robert Candies from Vancouver, British Columbia. Pam Anderson's actually from BC as well, or British Columbia. Maybe Robert read the magazine a little bit. Maybe Robert reads the magazine a little too closely. We're sure not all our readers are as obsessive as that. Okay, I actually grabbed a pen, so you guys could kind of at least know where I'm reading on this page. I don't know if you can actually see it, but just in case you wanted to read along with me. Keeping tabs. I would like to know if the crushed Heineken on page 56 of the September issue is the same can pictured on page 222. Also, the cans of Miller Genuine Draft on page 153 look remarkably similar to the ones used in the fashion spread on one. Okay, this is all just stuff about the previous magazine. Hate mail from animal lovers. That's people complaining about people hunting. Continuing on. Maxim reader tips. Let's see what this is. Burn rubber. About that condom ring in your leather wallet. Grow up. To get rid of it, run a match. Flame under the ring for 10 seconds. To soften up the leather and then massage it out with your fingers. And don't give up. Hope. You'll get laid eventually. This is what Stuart Miller from Huntsville, Texas' advice is. So evidently that was a problem back in the day. I will say, in bad advice, I guess, technically, I've never worn condoms, so I've never had that problem. But I guess back in the day, you'd put them in your wallet like that. Well hung over. Hangover tip number 328. Put 2 aspirins in a glass of water by your bed before you pass out in a stupor. Then set your alarm for an hour before you have to wake up. When it goes off, take the aspirin with the water, reset your alarm, and go back to sleep. When you wake up an hour later, you'll feel like $75. Get up and do it all again. That's Zach Fisher from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Frequent flyer. A couple of weeks ago, you got motivated and fried some eggs in a skillet. But sadly, the pan's still on the stove, and the egg remnants are harder than Christian Slater's head. What's with the hate on Christian Slater's head there? To clean burned off food of any pot or pan, fill it with water and a few drops of soap, and then bring the water to a boil for several minutes. A wipe with a sponge will take care of it from there. That's Chris Bingham from New York, New York. Yeah, I don't know. Does Christian Slater have a hard head? Another good hangover advice for you guys. Vomit the night before, especially if you're really hammered. It'll get rid of all the alcohol that's in your stomach that's not absorbed in your bloodstream yet. And if you got the spins, lay on your stomach on the bed and keep one of your legs off the bed touching the floor. It'll stop you from getting the spins. Guess footwear. Put this down till we read again. This is the Red Hot Chili Peppers album, Californication. It came out in 99 or 98, but one of the best albums of all time, one of the best albums of the 90s. You're now $2.50 closer to your next tattoo. Medal of Honor, one of the best games I'd ever played in my life to that point. Amazing first-person World War II shooter. Fun story about this game, I got my mother to get this for me for Christmas in 1999, which I guess would have been a month after this. Technically, this is a November issue. They come out a month prior, so this was actually printed in October, but I would get this for Christmas, and I would actually take it out from under the tree the week before Christmas, and I would take it, undo the wrapping, take the game out of the case, put the game back under the tree with the wrapper with another game inside. And I actually played this for a full week before Christmas, with the volume off, of course. I didn't want my mother to know I did that. She would have absolutely snapped the game in half. Great World War II shooter. Show me your papers. I always remember that with these Nazis. Shoot first and you're a war hero. Shoot second and you're a casualty. Have you heard the one about these are jokes? There's so much to read. I don't want to read them all. I'll never get through this magazine. Jim Beam Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Sorrels. Mother Nature has yet to secrete a liquid we can't repel. Sorrel winter boots are actually really, really good. I've had a few of them over the years. I'm here to talk to you about ejectile dysfunction. There's a pilot ejecting from a jet. What is this? Pop goes the pixel. A camera that gets you closer to reality. Maybe too close. Look at that thing. Dissatisfied with the way those nude Polaroids portray your endowments? Well, now you can document yourself, and more importantly, in eye-popping digital 3D glory. So it's a picture that's like a 3D printer, I guess, of your face. Deplane, a Russian pilot shows what would have happened if the Cold War had gone hot. So I guess this is a Russian pilot that ejected here. At an International Air Tattoo in Fairford, England in 93. Looks like it was an air show. TNT and A. Okay, let's find out who this girl is. There's Chrome by Azaro. This is still out today, you guys. It's still a really, really, really good fragrance. It's a aquatic fragrance. Have you seen this girl? TNT A. Her name, I guess it's not her name. Her real name is Natalie Wright-No, better known as weapon specialist Nikki Romano in Pamela Lee's latest theatrical masterpiece, VIP, now in syndication. So she was a girl in a Pamela Anderson B movie. Pamela Anderson really didn't make A-list movies. Pretty much ever in her career, they've always been B-list. She made The Last Stripper, which is like an artsy-fartsy movie. How long ago was that? No, 2 years ago now. It was actually a decent movie. Modern art is crap. Michael Venting wants your walls hung with dung. It's a guy that paints with shit. Cow shit, it looks like. Names I don't remember, but I'm very good with feces. Instead of I'm very good with faces. Okay, so this guy paints with crap. Sammy Slammer. Part of a complete breakfast. Flipper versus Tipper. One's a TV dolphin that was famous in the 60s. The other a politician's wife still living in the 50s. But which one can really blow it out? Which one can really blow it out its hole? The French have given us some really crappy things in the past. Rude waiters, snails as food, Vietnam, but now they've gone too far. Their latest offering is Michael Flinkant, who makes his living giving a shit. No, really. Don't think we need to read this. This guy paints with shit. I don't know if he's still active today. I think I might actually Google that. Slates clothing. The French are really ignorant people, I will say, and that's coming from a Canadian tourist. I say that because all over Europe, everyone loves Canadians. They treat you like shit when they think you're American, but as soon as they find out you're Canadian, they're super nice. The French don't give a shit. They're ignorant to everybody. Mind if I smoke? Professional stuntman David Nunn experiences a burning sensation. Living out of every man's fantasy, Dave's assistant shoots him point blank with a flare gun. Doused in gasoline and rubber cement, Dave flares up like Sean Penn's temper. Layers of overalls and fire retardant gel keep Dave from becoming a human. Humans more? Oh, a human s'more. Burned again, Dave vows to implement employee background checks. Special ed, those who can do, those who can't do, teach. Those who can teach, take it off their pants. Like I said, this is people that have never read this magazine before, especially, I don't know about nowadays because I haven't read it in a long time. These are actual articles. Like, this isn't just a magazine where there's a hot girl and you flip to the hot girl pages and it's all girls. It's not. It's an actual magazine written by men for men. So there's a lot to read. Like I said, you get this at the airport. It'll keep you busy for a few hours. Master taters. We try a staple of the Irish diet. No, not microwavable whiskey. Irish is whiskey. It's also Guinness as well. Mrs. T's pierogies. Cavendish hash browns. Cohen's famous potato niches. Micro Magic French fries. Larry's stuffed potatoes, bacon, and cheese. Orlo whipped potatoes, sour cream, and chives. I don't know. These must be American chains and or not groceries, but products you can get in American grocery stores, I guess. In the zone, how to make time work with anyone. I'm not sure what this is. There's a Kahlua ad here as well. Same one here, White Russian. Built for speed, Tony Stewart tells you how to pass for a race car driver. Nothing impresses a woman like a cool job. Tony Stewart. I used to watch NASCAR. Yeah, he was the Home Depot guy. He did win a Winston Cup or a Nextel Cup, I guess, by the time he won it. No, I think he only ever won the one. But he actually had a big crash the day Dale Earnhardt died, which would be 2 years from now, 2 Daytona 500s from now. He was in a worse-looking crash, and he came out fine. That's why it was so weird that Dale died. This is a whole article I'm reading, though we're not going to go through all that. He had a big temper on him, is what I was trying to say initially. Emporio Armani get together with 2 new fragrances for him, at Macy's. California Creamin'. Next time you get a video for the kids, you might want to double check that title. No budget production values, of course, tasteless, we hope, utterly devoid of artistic merit, we think not. Note the clever plot revisions in these skillful XXX rated interpretations of the Hollywood blockbusters, some of which actually improve on the originals. So these are parodies of Hollywood movies, like porn parodies. So Edward Scissorhands is the movie, and Edward Penis Hands is the porn. A Clockwork Orange is the movie. A Clockwork Orgy is the porn. Top Gun is the movie. Top Buns is the porn. Ben-Hur is the movie. Done-Her is the porn. Saving Private Ryan is the movie. Shaving Ryan's Privates is the movie. As you can see, these big movies like Private Ryan and Ben-Hur, these are all VHSs because there's no DVDs yet in 1999. They would come out in the next year and a half or so. But you can see the double VHSs for these movies. You used to have that watch both VHS tapes. Oh, that smell. New fragrances that will make your dog think you're a mass murderer. Guess leather. Less freaks. Cease check. At last, a town with more weirdos than Washington, D.C. He's got a platinum spike for formal occasions. At first glance, Gibsonton, Florida looks like any other rundown southern town. Strip malls, unkept homes, divey watering holes. Then you notice the lions and tigers and bears and man with nails sticking out of his nose, and you realize, oh my god, I'm in Freaktown, USA. So it's like a town of freaks, I guess. Apartment. Can you speak up? We can't hear you with your foot in your mouth. Department of Corrections. Okay, let's try to read this here. The light's kind of getting in my way. Others with your remarkable intellect only to have... ever tried to regale others with your intellect only to have it pointed out what an idiot you are? Jane Doyle's new book, Wrong, the biggest mistakes and miscalculations ever made by people who should have known better, exposes a few noble figures who, like you, must feel like a bunch of jackasses about now. Okay, so it's like a book about etiquette, I guess. I'm not sure. Columbia Sportswear. Columbia makes great winter gear. Toss, jerk, spank. An expanded glossary for lonely guys. Polish to Bishop. John Paul was late for his appearance, having wasted most of the morning polishing the bishop. What? One-legged race. What are you doing in there, Jimmy? Just having a one-legged race, Mom. Punch the Munchkin. Dorothy turned beet red when she caught it. Tin Man punched the Munchkin. Or punching the Munchkin. I'm not sure what that is. Maxim Thesaurus is what that article is. Woman in Labor. An Arizona prison teaches us that woman's place is in the rock quarry. So it's like women in a chain gang, it looks like. It came from the 3rd grade, number 9. This month, the cling wrap toilet. Take the piss out of someone by splashing it right back on him. So it's the old, you get saran wrap and you put it over top of the toilet. Funny prank unless you do it in your own home, and then your wife or girlfriend, boyfriend if you're a woman doing this, and or if you're a lesbian, would tell you, fuck you, you're cleaning it, I'm not cleaning it. And then you're cleaning their urine. I guess it'd be harder for women. What am I saying? This is something you do to a man. How do you give oranges a fresh squeeze? A Southern Comfort. Southern Comfort's a whiskey, isn't it? Is this Southern Comfort whiskey? Yeah, it is for sure. I was gonna say, I like Southern Comfort. Oh, Batman Forever. That's Drew Barrymore, by the way. Unlike most men, Tommy Lee comes in different colors. Friend or foe, soap operas aren't the only places where evil twins pop up. Two-fister, saluting qualifies that make men great. We look back in 1889. Lift and separate. Being crushed by 286-pound snatch. Isn't as fun as it sounds? Ooh, that looks painful. The high price of stupidity. At last, a gift for men with just too much money. Designer ice cubes. Maxim hijacks the internet. Don't worry, snapping that ball on our account. Okay, what do we got here? Just some more Maxim ads. I think their website was actually live this year. Testosterone fuel injected. IGN.com. Yeah, IGN was just a few years old at this point, I'm pretty sure. Smartass answers to dumbass questions. What is this? When somebody farts and you smell it, aren't you really breathing in tiny molecules of shit? I've actually heard of that before. Don't worry. The answer, don't worry. There aren't articles of shit in there, just molecules of intestinal gas that smell like a barnyard in July. Farts are precursors of poop. They're the body's way of saying shit's about to happen. They don't contain digested food or food byproducts, but whether they stink and how fiercely they stink does depend on the food you ate beforehand. If you ate a balanced meal, the bacteria in your gut will produce odorless gases that slip into the world inconspicuously. But if you gorge on certain proteins, the bacteria will chum out hydrogen sulfide and expanding noxious sulfur gases, explaining why your girlfriend won't sleep with you after all-you-can-eat wing night. These odorphins offers come in trace amounts put back in such a powerful punch that you can sniff them for 6 movie rows away. I remember that. We used to think that you were inhaling like someone's little pieces of shit. How many people do you have to kill to be considered a serial killer? Very few. If by killing somebody means stalking them, eviscerating them, eating their liver with parsnips, and wearing their skin as a snappy cocktail dress. Okay, well, what exactly are blue balls? How can people walk over hot coals without burning their feet? Mind over matter. Self-hypnosis, spiritual powers, it's crap. You two could make some quick bucks by walking over the remnants of a tailgate barbecue or remains. To prove there's no hocus pocus involved, physicist and former UCLA Professor Bernard Lincoln strapped 2 slabs of uncooked meat to his feet and walked across the red coals. The beef stayed as raw as a Thai hooker. If it's all in the mind, Lee concludes Ralph's top round steaks for 2 must have the same mental power as firewalkers. The true answer to the question lies in simple physics. While wood coals can reach more than 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, their surface has more thermal conductivity. So as long as you don't stand in one place for too long, you won't fry your tootsies. Think of a hot oven. If you stick your arm in briefly, nothing will happen because air doesn't conduct heat. Well, but if you touch the metal rack or leave your arm in the oven for hours, you've charcoaled yourself or baked like a rump roast. L'Oreal gel. Now, I was using gel as a kid back then. I was using Dep4 and Dippity Doo, actually. NASA Sports International. I'm not sure what this is. Sports betting site, it looks like. How to be a pool hall stud. This is like, I guess, pool shooting. Tips. Becoming an astronaut. Administer a sobriety test because friends don't let friends spend Saturday night in the clink. I guess it's a way to give yourself a sobriety test to see if you can drive home. This seems very irresponsible. This is Claiborne. Or Claiborne, sorry. Profit from death. How to profit from death? From toes up to thumbs up. Some ghoulish tips for the ethical inspired. I'm not sure what that's about. There's Captain Morgan for sure. Captain Morgan Spice Rum with Coke is one of my go-tos. It's one of my favorite all-time hard liquor drinks. If you mix this with McGuinness's cherry whiskey, or sorry, if you go with cherry whiskey instead of this, McGuinness's, it tastes just like a cherry Coke spiced rum. It's really good. Juggle 2 girlfriends. Tip for handling a double play as defty as Derek Jeter. Teaches you how to two-time, I guess. Keep it simple. Isn't Shakespeare? Keep them too busy to notice. Find a lookout. This obviously is something you might be able to do in 1999. You would not be able to do this now with social media. Get rid of mice before you do something stupid, like buy a cat. Try this. There's some mice removal tips, I guess. Hit them where they live. Pit on baits the wall. Bait and squish. Discourage house guests. A fun fact, if you're going to use mouse traps to catch mice, try to use peanut butter. Don't use use cheese. Because cheese, they might be able to knock it off and they'll, just escape the snap. But with peanut butter, they'll keep licking it while it's on there, and eventually it will trigger the snap. NCAA Game Breaker 2000. I think NCAA football games, again in 98 Studios. I think it's back now. It was gone for a long time. The 10-step seduction. Getting lucky has nothing to do with luck. Follow these 10-point checklists to ensure you've done everything you need to pull off the perfect first date. Okay, is there 10 full? Well, there is. Okay, let's read this. This seems pretty interesting. Bomb equipment. I remember that. That's close. Make sure you guys can see this here. Okay, let's read this. This seems interesting. Impress me move number 1. Show some polish. You may have dropped some serious dough on a new shirt and slicked back your hair to a nice gelatinous crisp, but women will still notice your shoes. That's why the paparazzi shoots in celebrity rags are usually full length to include the shoes. We care that much. So I guess this all by Amy Spencer. So this is a woman's perspective on this. So if the tips of your leather shoes are worn down, the fuzzy nubs or the soles of your boots are falling off, take them to a clobber for a little TLC. If you're adamantly hopeless on the fashion front, throw on some clothes you plan to wear and go to a real store. A real shoe store. Kmart doesn't count, and ask for the sales guy what shoes go with that outfit. One last thing, match the color of your socks to your pants. I met a guy a few years ago who was wearing black pants, black shoes, and white socks. Explains Betsy, who's 34 and still in shock. So this is Betsy, I guess? This is Betsy's advice. I do know women love shoes, and they love it if you compliment their shoes. If they get a whole new outfit, don't forget to compliment her shoes. Pressing move number 2, search your mug for strays. If you want us to get close to you, first get close to a mirror and check for odd hairs poking. Poking out from unexpected places. I had dinner with a gorgeous guy who had one little hair sticking out of his nose, says Christian 27. I couldn't look at anything else all evening. I couldn't even bring myself to kiss him. I was afraid he'd put it in my eye, or put out an eye. Then check for a flawless shave job and evenly trimmed sideburns. Here's a tip. Try grooming gurus at Maxim. Tell me that right-handed guys tend to shave their left sideburn shorter than their right because of the reach. You never noticed. Believe me, we will. Impressive move number 3. Foolproof your dinner plans. You arrive at the oyster bar at 8 o'clock, but not only is your table still occupied, there's a bachelor party convening in your corner, and oh yeah, she's allergic to shellfish. But because you're so efficient, you made reservations at another restaurant down the block for 8:15. Just in case, no hassle, no hives. While you're on the phone, find out if the restaurants take credit cards and which ones if they do take plastics. Call your credit card company. They've all got 24-hour toll-free numbers to make sure that the $400 tab at Hannah's House of Hooters won't put you over your limit. It'll take you 2 minutes and save the awkward silence that comes with your card being handed back to you in 2 pieces. They used to break your credit cards when they were denied. Obviously, back then you couldn't just go on your internet banking, right? Although, I guess only a few years later when I was in the workforce, I used to just call my toll-free bank number, and I could just get my balance and everything from there. This guy's spraying, looks like body spray down his pants. If the spray doesn't work, setting traps is your only option. Jesus. Impressive move number 4, detox your toilet. Women can find hairs you didn't know you shed in the first place, and nothing triggers a woman's flight or flight response faster than a scuzzy bathroom. All you need is a handful of damp toilet paper. First stop, the yellow misfire scum on the rim of the toilet. Remember, we don't lift the seat, so don't worry about the goo up near the hinge. Then wipe your stubble out of the sink and toothpaste globs off the mirror. Don't worry about the mildew in the shower. By the time that becomes an issue, we'll have already fallen for your rakish charms. No. Press me move number 5. You may get your date home a passionate tumble on the beauty rest, but if she finds a memento of your conquest lying around, you're out of business. After this guy charmingly stole a kiss from me for the photo booth camera, I walked into his house to find a shoot from a photo booth session with another woman stuck on his fridge, says Joanna, 23. In that same vein, ignore the blinking light on the answering machine, unless you're certain it's your mom calling to thank you for those flowers you sent. Come to think of it, that would be a devious little ruse, wouldn't it? And for God's sake, don't talk about your ex when you're on the date. If he's talking about her, then he's not interested in getting to know me, points out Sasha, 28. I mean, if you're really over someone, then you wouldn't be talking about them all the time. Hello, Freud. If she asks about your last relationship, keep it simple. She was a really great woman and we had a lot of fun, but it just didn't work out. Impress me. Move number 6. Jettison the cell phone. Sure, for a few years ago it made you look cool, but now that housewife in Des Moines has one, it can only detract from your date unless it's a surgeon or a drug dealer who does he need to talk to at 10 o'clock at night, asks Katie, 31. There's no sadder sight than two people sitting together, one person yapping on their phone while the other person looks around bored as a blind man at the tennis match. If you must bring one along so a buddy can call to bail you out of with a fake emergency, yeah, we know that trick, fine. But if it's all going well, then turn off the ringer, he'll get the point. So back then it was just calls. Now it's, you'll see people sitting at tables now, and my wife's bad for it sometimes too. I have to call her out on it. And the funny thing is, she'll be scrolling, on social media or texting somebody, and I'll like, oh my God, I'm waiting forever, and I'll get on my phone, and I swear to God, as soon as I get on my phone, she puts her phone down, she says, pay attention to me, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? But back then, a cell phone, this massive thing, was meant just for phone calls. Number 7, review your anecdotes. By the time you head out the door for your date, you should have 3 funny stories in the back of your mind. One guy I know even keeps a cribbled list of keywords tucked in his pocket. That might be going a bit overboard, but a guy who can rescue us from an awkward pauses is a guy who can rescue us from other things as well. One caveat here, get your facts straight, even and especially if you've swiped the stories from other guys. That feminine instinct women are purported to have also helps us weed out the crap about Beck being a good buddy of yours. Last year I met a man who told me a charming story about his family, but he blew it when he threw in the more impressive details, like the fact that his grandfather invented the turbine machine. He didn't. And then his mother could play 18 instruments, which of course is normally a huge amount. A huge turn-on for women on her list. Both the alto and soprano violin, I checked. They don't exist. Don't be a bullshitter, basically, she's saying. Pressing move number 8, sit with your back to the door. If you're facing a door of a restaurant, you'll be like a cat at the aquarium. No matter how hard you try to stop them, your eyes will go up and down every time a woman walks by. Since you know this is about yourself, take away the temptation. Have her sit with her back to the wall so you can see all the glamorous people thronging the hip restaurant you chose. And you can see only her. Unless you're expecting an assassination attempt, that is the easiest way to keep from making an ass of yourself. Pressing move number 9. Leave your ego at the coat check. Of course, we'd love to hear about your cool job, but give it to us easy. No one likes to brag. Whoever likes a braggart. I heard that term before. Like the guy who mentioned his 6-figure salary to me in the first 6 minutes of a date, or the one who brought up that he works out 3 hours a day, or the man who at a rock concert just happened to shout that he was a Harvard graduate when my friend and laughed at him. He pulled out his old Harvard ID to prove it. The point is, we'd rather hear that you're still clawing your way up the ladder of that cool job, because perfect makes us nervous and pretty damn suspicious. Pressing move number 10. Treat others as you would treat me. You've already talked about that poor secretary shot down on one man's cocky ego trip missions, but there are others. The bartender serving us drinks, be generous, and if you're paying, overtip. On that note, don't ask us what to tip. We'd like to think you figured that out by now. The hostess who seated us, thank her while looking her in the eye as opposed to looking at her other shapely attributes. What about the waiter who served you an overdone steak? Put your foot down, but be polite and thank him for the extra service. Patience is super attractive. And if we run into a few friends, pretend you're interested in them too. Think about it, it's good PR. If my friends like you, then they'll be rooting for you, and at this stage you should take all the help you can get. Decent tips. Pretty obvious in terms of myself for sure. That's the says her. We're not going to read everything in here. Certain articles that are interesting we'll definitely look at more. No pain, no game. Basketball is much more game. To the Portland Trailblazers power forward, Brian Grant. It's an endless series of scars, bruises, and stitches. A general consensus nowadays is basketball players are so fragile. They're almost like soccer players now. Brutally honest, like it or not. Oh, it's a Nike watch that has your weight on it, I guess. It's like a sports watch, I guess. A 1999 sports watch. Got Milk. The Got Milk ads from back in the day. Okay, this is more about that basketball player. Lucky Strike cigarettes. I don't think you see cigarette ads in men's magazines anymore. I might be wrong on that. Grant my wish. There are people out there dying to give you their money. Here's how to help them. There's a massive article on this. Grant's even goofier than Hugh. Looking for a fast buck? The easy road to easy street could be yours. Hugh Grant. He was like a big heartthrob in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know how I always thought he was fucking ugly. South Park guys. There's a whole interview here for them. We're not going to go through that. Hail Satan. The lingerie model is stepping into Veronica's closet. Lucky for us, she can still find a thing to wear. Who is this person? I don't know who this person is. Checking herself in a mirror. Make sure she hasn't quadrupled in size. If you saw, watch this Lori Bagley when she was in regular pages of Victoria's Secret. Okay, she's a Victoria's Secret model. I don't recognize this one though. She must not have been one of the big ones. Adriana Lima was pretty huge around this time. It makes you feel nice to look good and turn somebody on by doing so. I love my body now, especially my butt. It's big and round and womanly. I like that. We like that too. The Ultimate Head-to-Head Racing Sim Touring Racing Challenge. I don't remember this game. I thought it was Grand Tour Racing at first. I was about to get excited. Secrets of the Self-Help Gurus. We stole the most expensive advice on getting rich. Oh, these are the financial advice sections. 212 Men is sent to the city by Carolina Herrera. 212. I think I got V212. Or 212 V2? I can't remember. So this was the original. I didn't know that there was originals to that. The Sephora ad. Oh, this is still the money stuff. That's that tape recorder we've seen at the front. Speed Seduction. Ross Jeffries gets all the women. Sky Vodka, the best vodka to drink with Moscow Mules, hands down. Merit Ultralights, Think Light. This is a huge article. Pure Pop, Pure Antigen Rising. It's a VCR speakers, another VCR. That's a stereo system actually. That's a VCR and a tape player. It's crazy. Like when this magazine is out, there was like no CDs even like at the time, or it wasn't common to have CD players and stuff. It was all fairly new. Dead men running, locked down and waiting to die. 6 vicious killers pulled off the impossible. A mass escape from death row. This is a huge article. We're not going to bother with this. You guys could look it up if you want. It's a 1983 escape. Cool cigarettes. Oh yeah, see, it's still going. It's like 5 pages. See, this is unlike the Game of Thrones and the UFC read-throughs. Those ones, like, if I were to do that series for this, I would, like, read everything, but it would be broken down to, like, 4 videos per magazine. I don't think we want to do that. We'll just skim through these magazines and read, like, we're definitely going to read interesting things, but this is like a book. It's still going. Look at this big screen TV. They were massive back in the day. Like, they would take up, like, that's as big as a picture window. And they were fucking huge, like 8 inches deep, if not more. It's still going, by the way. Find out about the gadget you didn't realize you wanted. CNET Personal Touch. I'm not sure what that is. It's still going. The best connection known to man. Okay, second best. Cool link. What is this? It's internet. It looks like little sperms, doesn't it? Okay, it's done. So it was like 6 pages. Swiss Army watches. The body you want, hers, not yours. The Maxim bedtime fitness program. Now the only dumbbell she'll need is you. So this is the sex workouts. Again, it looks like quite a bit of reading. Warm up. Okay, let's just skim through this. So this is a workout for her to have when she's having sex with you. I'm not sure how that would come across if you were dating a girl and you said, hey, you want to work out? Let's have some sex, and you should work out this way. I thought this was about just couples having sex to stay in shape, or use it as a form of exercise, which I have done. Warm up. You already know the best way to get a woman warmed up, so make sure you explain everything she has to do beforehand. The with you'll be thomlink like this. Oh, otherwise it'll be sounding like this. What? Have her disrobe entirely except for her bra. Lay on your back on your bed and have her squat over your choppers with her weight supported on her hands and feet. It's like 69, I guess. Lower her pelvis down to mustache level. Now using her legs, she should grind for a minute. For a good 3 minutes to work the lower body. Then have her shift to her knees and straighten her torso. As she continues grinding, she should reach first one hand, then the other to the back of her bra to stretch her shoulders. Finally have her undo her bra. This is crazy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine getting a girlfriend to do this? Okay, what does butt have to do? Gluteus maximus, lie on your back and have her straddle your pelvis, placing your palms in your chest. Now relax and encourage her to slide up and down over your jimmy as she flexes the muscles in her butt. No slipping inside here. Remember, you're doing this for her benefit. Keep your hands on her buttocks to monitor that she's keeping muscles contracted and encourage her. Have her do 3 sets of 25 repetitions or until she orgasms. This is, yeah, so this is not what I thought it was. Thighs, abdomens. Sorry, I didn't even look. Who is this actress or model? Did it ever say? I don't. She doesn't look very familiar anyway. No. So this particular article is about her actually using you as a workout machine. That's literally what it is, like a sex workout machine. Yeah, this is a little too graphic, I think. We're just gonna skim this. It doesn't need a lime to give it flavor. Amstel Light. The Maxim Marathon. She's traded a gym routine for your love machine, but can your equipment give her a workout? It's like a cardio routine for this, I guess. Bolder flavor, smoother cut, bigger can. Rooster, it lasts. Rooster Snuff, it looks like. Chewing tobacco, aka. Keep your pants on because everybody does it, but not everybody does it well. We present the 1999 Maxim Bad Sex Awards. See if this doesn't cool your jets. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Bad sex, like in the 1990 year. Bad sex websites. Oh, just look at this mess, boy. Am I horny? Messyfun.com. Fast Times at Toys R Us. Velocity.net. I don't know what this means. Bad Sex TV. Meanwhile, Cindy Brady. Toils and Obscurity. No, not that. I don't know what this is. I thought it would be like movies, but I guess not. I don't know what that is. It's a lot of reading, though. Looks like there's a mud wrestling match going on here, though. Which, ironically, around this time, actually was fairly common in the WWF of this time frame. So it's crazy to think nowadays, if you watch wrestling now with those amazing athletes, that they would be put in situations where they'd have to be in bikinis and be in a mud pool, but it was very common back then. Bad sex products. We'll have the Hillary Clinton model. I guess, yeah, he's still the president this year, as of right now, Bill Clinton. Bad sex on screen. After 3 kids, she'll upgrade to an attempt at this. Space Archives. Hostile elections. So they are going through movies, but they're not. You have to read it. Like megahertz. In lieu of actual intercourse, game designer Jennifer Jason Leigh ports her creepy game pod into her boyfriend's SCSI for a passionate virtual RAM session. Our server did not respond, so I don't know what movie that is. Is it megahertz? Anyway, that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to seeing that. Offensive, Crude and Lewd. The Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla. Oh, that is Jimmy Kimmel. Look at that. That was his old show on the Comedy Central. And he was kind of a misogynist back then. Burning Blue, Pacific Blues Brick House Bicycle Cop is the sexiest thing on 2 wheels. Shannon Mokler. I don't know who this is. She's from Pacific Blue, obviously. But, as a show I never really watched. It was like a cheap USA show. As Miss USA, I couldn't swear, and I tend to swear a lot, so I guess she was a Miss USA. See what I mean by these are most of the photo shoots you'll see in Maxim, they're just like this. Like, they're not over the top lewd. Like, I guess she's got a hand bra there, but you're not going to see any nudity or anything. People were yelling, "Oh no, boobs," but when you see a lot of them, it's no big deal. I guess you would see a lot in the Miss USA pageants and stuff. Thrill rides, okay, let's see the cars that were bigger on this time. Alright, this is going to be fun because these are all old cars now. Cadillac DeVille Touring Sedan, $44,000. A GM General Hummer, 85,000. These are expensive even back then. Honda Civic, 17,000. BMW Sports Wagon, 41,000. Ford F-150 Lightning, 29,000. Look how small it is. Hardball haggling, peek above the hood, drive it and drive, step on the gas. I don't know what that is. Article about driving, anyway. Volkswagen Jetta GLS VR6, Audi Coupe, TT Coupe, 39,000. Jeep Wrangler, 14,500. Toyota Camry. They still make Camrys, I think. I think when Toyota joined NASCAR in 2002, the Camry was their car they went with. Here's a pager. And back then, those pagers, they were starting to have the ability to like text. Back then, primitive texting. Jaguar S-Type. Fun fact, I know it's like an older person's car, it looks like now, but I really wanted a Jaguar when I was a kid. I don't know why. Range Rover. Look at how old these are. Nissan Maxima. Mercedes S500. Yeah, they're so old now. Like, these were brand spanking new state of the art at the time. Honda S2000 Roadster, 30,000. Chevy Corvette, right there, 52,000. Lexus GS 400, 45,000. So yeah, Corvettes nowadays are about $90,000. Your life is a movie. This is a score. Getting chased. Not sure what that is. Here's Scope. Ad for Scope. Mouthwash. Penthouse Roadster, 62,500. That is a nice car. And that would be nice even today, I would imagine. If you were to buy that and if you would have kept it in good condition. BMW 3231, 27,000. Bentley Continental T, 300,000. 2, what is this for? Oh, Gran Turismo 2, great game. Gran Turismo 1 and 2 were just game-breaking, or game-changing racing games. Really, really good. Number 5, Lincoln Navigator, 42,000. That's actually a nice SUV. Porsche Carrera, 70,000. I almost bought this car in 2011. Not this year, obviously. I think it was like a 2010. I was thinking about buying it in 2012 for my first car. I ended up getting a Mazda RX-8. Number 4, a Dodge Viper ACR. A Mazda RX-8 R3, actually, was the R3 edition. 79,000. I used to love Dodge Vipers too when I was a kid. Car stereos. Fun fact, back in the day, people used to take the car stereo cover off so people wouldn't steal their car stereos. 3, Ford Excursion. That is the number 3 car for 99. 33,000. Aston Martin DB7 Vantage, 150,000. Ferrari 550 Maranello, 212,000. It's crazy. Ferraris are still that expensive back then. Head and Shoulders. Vanessa Marcel. An actress, apparently. I don't know who that is. Here she is. Okay, we're actually going to see which picture I cut out. I should be able to see it. Love Machine. She's hot and wholesome, having the time of her life. Come on, feel the love. It might have been this one. If you guys can see that. I don't want to get the light in the way. I think it was that one, actually. I actually cut around. Like, I cut it. I try to cut it as perfectly around her body as possible. We're not making a sappy teen girl show where we have hot chicks. There's a whole article on her. We're not going to go through this whole thing, though. I think we're already over an hour for sure. I went through a period where I wore big sweaters. Then I just got used to my body, she says. Oh, you know, but it might have been this one. It was a frontwards picture anyway. Let me probably probably shouldn't have been. That was weird. Salesmen were really. I was just reading. Did you notice a big change in how guys interacted with you? And she said, when older men who probably shouldn't have been looking started looking at me, that was weird. Salesmen were really extra nice, and I was going, I wonder why. I guess you're talking about when she developed. Okay. I think that's it. There she is, and I know what you did last summer. She was gorgeous in there. When you want to attract the guy, is there anything you do to get his attention besides using Thelma and Louise? I just smile. I don't really try. I think if you're trying too hard, then they're coming over for the wrong reason. I think you click with somebody or you don't, and they're either interested or they're not. Thrasher presents Skate and Destroy. This was a good game as well. Grockstar Games. I think that's it for her. Yeah, it wasn't this. It was the front one. I would think it was this, but I find it attractive when people don't know how to talk to other people. Really? She likes awkwardness, I guess. There's a DVD player there, guys. Ultimate DVD collection. I guess the newer movies would have a DVD option, but they wouldn't be sold en masse at the time. Bombay Sapphire, really good gin. Maxim Fashion, what to wear and how to wear it. Outcheck, okay. You don't know fashion, lucky she does. Keep quiet and buy what she tells you. That's a nice sweater, wool sweater. Wool jacket 165 by 2U. Cotton tank by Jockey. Briefs by Diesel. Who cares? Who wears tank tops to sleep nowadays anyway? Like if they're a couple, they're not wearing clothes to bed unless they have kids, I guess. This is like 1999, 2000 fashion. I actually don't mind that jacket. Puffy jackets, they're still in. Oh, I really like that jacket. I love fur trim, the winter jackets, they're so nice. Vests are really kind of dated though. They kind of made a comeback for a while a bit. Let her dress you. 4 women, an actress, a medical student, a real estate agent, and a club DJ. Select clothes that make you look good and them feel hot. Okay, let's see this. This is serious gear, but it's also fashionable. Donna Marie. Fitted pants look hot on a guy if they're flexible enough that he can move. Lizzie, 22 actress. I wonder who she is. I've never seen her before. Nothing beats a soft sweater and a great pair of khakis. Candy, 25, real estate agent. That's very, very 90s, guys. I used to wear sweaters with khaki pants. Like preppy sweaters with stripes and stuff. That's what everyone used to wear in 1999. It was, and dress shoes. That was the fashion at the time. Grey Goose vodka. Not my favorite. You put this on and all of a sudden you're a power player. That's a very dated looking suit. This guy even kept this in here. 1 year. Maxim magazine, $12. Yeah, this is how you used to subscribe to magazines. Like I told you guys, I used to subscribe to Men's Health, Grappling Magazine, and Fight Magazine. It was just like this. You'd have to mail it in. Save 75% off the cover price. Alyssa Milano. Gorgeous. Debris, diamond rings. Diamond engagement. That's a nice ring. Unarmed. Look, ma, no sleeves. High-tech vests have you covered in this fall. I told you vests are like a big thing in the 90s. Okay, here, this looks like the tech department. This would be interesting for $19.99. Musical instruments serenade your home every hour. So it's a clock every hour that'll play a different tune. See? You got a piano. Not sure what that is. A saxophone, I think that's a saxophone. Guitar, flute, drums, keyboard. Teleguider not only tells you when your calls are monitored, it jams the listening devices too. So this is like an anti-recording device, I guess. Authentic 1940 golden nugget slot machine. $2,400. I guess, like you put in the man cave, I guess. Revolutionary Iron Eagle lighter is 100% windproof. Glass porthole even lets you know it's on. It's a really cool lighter, I guess. Take your family on a trip to the solar system. That's weird. It's a telescope. Guess if you're into that kind of thing, right? Dynaflex strength machine. So it's like a ball you squeeze. There's been a lot of those kind. Welcome to the machine to access time on our best-selling machine watch. It's a machine watch. Wireless headphones. Transmit right through your walls. Enjoy music or news anywhere in your room outside. That's crazy that they had them back then. What brand is that? Does it say? I can't see. Oh, RF Spectrum. Never heard of them. Score with a beautiful woman every Friday night. Oh, this is a Maxim ad. Tracy Bingham, November 5th. That's a Baywatch girl, I believe. Angie Everhart. That's a softcore porn actress. Allison Armitage. I don't know who that is. Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. That's an actress. It looks like Foo Fighter. It is. Dave Grohl. The Maxim Reviews. Grinder. Not what you think. Personal stereos tested on the edge. I think that's a Discman. Sonic Doom. Look at that. Look at that badass Discman. And there's a cassette player, a Walkman. MP3 player. Oh, so this is an actual MP3. Look at how expensive. It was $300 back then. That's how much an MP3 player was. A data player. Sony Walkman TD. $1,000 Walkman. How was a Walkman $1,000? Mind you, a Discman was $200, but we have to read this. I need to know how this is. It must be like an MP3 player as well. What's a DAT? It's a digital audio tape, a format destined to replace analog tapes until the record companies squashed it. You'll never find an album on DAT, but audiophones worship its crystal sound. Sony's player is the world's smallest and lightest. 4 hours playback and recording battery life. Special features: it'll automatically catalog recordings and adjust the playback volume to compensate for passages with wide variations. This huge LCD lights up like a Vegas jacuzzi at night. So it's a Walkman, like it's for cassettes, but it like adjusts for you, I guess. That doesn't justify the $1,000 price tag, in my opinion. If I'm being honest. This one's $345. Again, another. What is this? CDs? I'm not even sure, but that's crazy. Look at the technology from back then. Now, you know, like I said, I just got my phone. My phone has everything on it. Movies. Can you imagine going up to this person right here and showing him my new Android, my S25 Android? His mind would be blown. Full metal jackets, along with the insulating layer of blubber. Which coat will keep you warmest this winter? So I actually own one of these coats, and I own a jean jacket version of this. It's really, really nice. I wear it in the fall. Here's a shaver. These are the jackets here. Not really interested in jacket articles. Get rich quick. Oh, It's online stock trading. World's first year 2000 golden dollar. I just forgot, like, this is on the eve of Y2K. Like, this is 2 months away from Y2K. The whole world was holding its breath, wondering if the computers were going to reset or what. So yeah, this is what the temperature of this time is about right now is Y2K. There's eBay. Look at this, guys. eBay. Way back then. This is actually where I got this magazine from. Turkey Day Meltdown. Even thawing your holiday bird can be dangerous if you do it right. So it's about cooking your turkey for Thanksgiving. Think out of the box on eBay. eBay is where smart buyers choose from one of the largest online selections of new computer and electronics items in the world. That means feeling and breathing. I don't understand. So at the time, I wonder, is this only you buy from retailers at the time on eBay? I guess it's almost like Amazon now. Maybe there's not other buyers. We got a camera. We got like a Star Choice dish. I think that was called Star Choice. They just don't have the brand on there. There's a computer. There's a laptop. A Walkman. Phone. Voice machine. Fax machine. Stereo. Stereo with a CD player. A television set. Camcorder down here. The world is not enough. One of my favorite Bond girls. What's her name? Sophie Moreau, is it? I can't remember. French actress. Gorgeous. I'm pretty sure this is the Bond movie with her. This was his second movie after GoldenEye. The world's not enough. Die Another Day, and then what's the one with Halle Berry? That was Brosnan's last one before they retired that. That James Bond and Daniel Craig's more collateral-like Bond came in. There's Jaws. I was just talking about him today. Talking about how my cousin Arnold, when we were kids, he had full silver teeth. I used to call him Jaws. We actually talked about him as well in the Mandela Effect, this famous scene. Odd Job from Goldfinger. Senior on top from GoldenEye. Nick Nack from The Man with the Golden Gun. Pretty sure The Man with the Golden Gun, that was Roger Moore. Rejected Mr. Kid and Mr. Winth from Diamonds Are Forever. Gold Medal Sportsbook. So here are some movies that are coming out. Previews. Film Bringing Out the Dead. Nicolas Cage, Patricia Arquette, John Goodman, and Ving Rhames. I've never watched this movie before. The Paramedic experiences darkly comic shell shock after too many years in the blood-soaked Big Apple beat. Never watched this. House on Haunted Hill. Geoffrey Rush, Ali Larder, Famke Jensen, and Chris. I never knew Ali Larder was in here. I remember this. I don't remember the movie, but I do remember this. I never knew Ali Larder was in there. The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc. This is a good movie. Mila Jovovich, yeah. She played this. John Malkovich is in there. Good movie. The Insider, Al Pacino, Russell Crowe, Christopher Plummer. I've watched this. I don't remember it, though. The True Tale of Tobacco, Whistleblower, Jeffrey with Glenn Crowe, and Behind the Scenes Battle of the 60 Minutes, producer Pacino to get his story on the air. The Bachelor, Chris O'Donnell, Renee Zellweger, Brooke Shields. I'd never watched that. Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. Obviously, I watched that. Great movie. Ejection Seat, The Rents, Rewind, No Problem, Be Kind, They Wish. So back then, guys, for my non-millennials, when you rented movies, they were VHSs, and you had to rewind them, or you'd get fees for not rewinding the VHS for the next person. It was considered good rental etiquette. Extinx, the designer of a freaky virtual reality game, Jennifer Jason Leigh. Oh, that's the one they were talking about earlier in the, was it this, were sex movies or something? I can't remember sex scene movies. The Blair Witch Project, October 22nd. This was a game-changing movie for Hollywood history. This started the whole found footage era. I mentioned this in my top 20 scary movies. surprise mega hit will be scarier on your TV. Oh, they're talking about movies that came to rent. Okay, they're just on a rent now. Never Been Kissed at Drew Barrymore. The big kiss scene at the Ball Diamond at the end. Rocky Commander of 20th Anniversary gift set. Life is Beautiful, is that with, no, Beautiful Mind is what I was thinking of with Russell Crowe. Stuff Magazine. Stuff Magazine was another men's magazine, and it was all mostly with gadgets and stuff. Like, it had way more of, like, the tech stuff we just seen. That's what these all had. Heidi Klum. She just had her epic Halloween costume. She has a Halloween party every year, and she does her own costumes, and they're always over the top. Like, Hollywood-style costumes. So, albums that are out this month. Foo Fighters, There's Nothing Left to Lose. Trying to see the hits on here. I guess you're not showing any. Pretty sure Learning to Fly is on here. Their next album is one of my favorite albums they've done. Marcy Playground, Shapeshifter. Yeah, I was gonna say 97 was the Sex and Candy album. Marcy Playground never ever did anything after that album. Counting Crows, Desert Life, good 90s band, Alan Jackson, David Bowie. None of these, aside from maybe the Foo Fighters. What songs are on there? Stacked Actors. Breakout, Living Skin, Mother Pulse. I don't know any songs on this album that off the top of my head. This is Speaker. Or Car Stereo again. Fiona Apple, that's an actress as well, or musician. Stone Temple Pilots number 4. This is old, isn't it? Down, Sex and Violence, Armies, Sour Girl, Show the Band. I guess, yeah, this is the album with Sour Girl. I didn't know Down and Sex and Violence are on here as well. No, I'm not thinking of Down. I'm thinking of, oh god, I confused Down with Plush. Yeah, this is the album with Sour Girl, Down and Sex and Violence. Good album. Gavin Rossdale, lead singer Bush, the Sex Pistols. I guess it's just an interview with the singer of Bush. I think he was dating Gwen Stefani at the time. I don't think they're together anymore. Muhammad Ali, Ringside, Grinder Books. Oh, these are just books. Evil Knievel, American Hero. The MP3.com Music and Technology Tour presents the Goo Goo Dolls with special guest Tonic. I would actually like that. I would like that concert. I love the Goo Goo Dolls and I like Tonic. I went to the tour of 1999 last summer with Creed, and I was so excited at the possibility that Tonic would be on tour that day, and they weren't. Or that date, because it was just Canadian bands. It was Finger 11 and Big Wreck instead for the Toronto date. Full controls to your fingertips. Just custom controllers, I guess. Oh, here's new Arcade Kings, the games, Space Invaders, Pac-Man 20th Anniversary, Q-Bird. Wu-Tang Shaolin Style, NASCAR 2000, Fishing Controller. This was a good game. I found it. It's got a 1 star, but I actually didn't mind it. It was not that bad. I think there was only 8 cars on a screen, though. That was the kind of disappointing thing. What is this? Looks like Driver. Oh, it's we're easy prey for smoke. Here's the roads. I'm not sure what this is out of sights. I'm not sure what this is. Custom lighters. Different colors, I guess. Full head of hair in 30 seconds. Yeah, hair replacement stuff was like a huge scam back then. And nowadays, you know, you can do hair replacements in Turkey, and it's legit now. But back then, like, they had all these different kind of scams they would do for people. Sex education for men. Unleash Maxim's first annual lingerie spectacular. this caption. Man, those caddies really earn their tips these days. I guess like he's looking for the ball. Macho Mint. And that is it, guys. That is the entire magazine. We are definitely at least an hour and a half in. The next edition won't be as long. Obviously, I'll be just jumping straight into the magazine. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Like I said, I could easily have made this into 4 or 5 videos just for this one magazine if I read everything. But like I said, I have 13 more to go. So same thing. We'll skim through it. We'll read some things that are kind of interesting. I would have loved to read actually a little more of that. The stupid sex exercise article, but I was reading some of the things on here. Oh, this isn't the one. Anyway, and it was pretty graphic, so I didn't want to have to read that for an ASMR video. I wouldn't read it for an ASMR video. But anyway, guys, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. And I hope you guys, if you went to sleep, you had a good sleep and you enjoyed the good mix of soft spoken and whispering, as well as page turning. And we'll look back in 1999. The next one we read, I think, is from February or March 2000. And it goes right until, I think, October 2001, right after September 11th. So, like I said, we'll probably do 2 or 3 a month of these for sure. Try to bang them all out. And, yeah, that should be fun. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys have a great day, great night, whatever it may be, and peace out. Peace out, peace out, peace out, peace out. Bye, guys. Get some nice, Love Hewitt, gorgeous face in there.